शुक्लां भरदरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् अपारकरुणासिन्धुं ज्ञानदं शान्तरूपिणं श्रीचन्द्रशेखरेन्द्रगुरुं प्रणमामि मुदान्वहं। सद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। So welcome to Vivekachudamani class, everybody. So before we start the class, today's class, let us all pray for Swami Omkarananda. Swami Omkarananda is a Vedantic teacher. I learned a lot from Swami Omkarananda's teachings, including Vivekachudamani and several Upanishads. Swami Omkarananda attained Mahasamadhi a couple of days back due to COVID and other related complications. He is a teacher par excellence. He comes from, his Vedantic teaching comes from Arsha Vidya. So Swami Omkarananda, he got his sannyasa from Swami Chidbhavananda of Ramakrishna order. In Tamil Nadu, Tiruparaiturai, there is a Ramakrishna mission. There, Swami Chidbhavananda was there, one Swamiji. So Swami Omkarananda, he got his sannyasa diksha from Swami Chidbhavananda. But he later got all his Vedantic teaching from Swami Paramarthananda. Swami Paramarthananda he himself is a Sishya. He himself is a student of Swami Dayananda Saraswati and Swami Chinmayananda. Swami Chinmayananda of Chinmaya Mission and Swami Dayananda Saraswati of Arsha Vidya. So Swami Paramarthananda is a student of Swami Dayananda and Swami Chinmayananda, and Swami Omkarananda is a student of Swami Paramarthananda. Swami Omkarananda was also the Peethadipati of Bhuvaneshwari, Pudukottai Bhuvaneshwari Peetham. In Pudukottai, there is a Bhuvaneshwari temple, and that is the Avadhuta Sampradaya. We say there are several Sampradayas in Vedanta. Avadhuta Sampradaya is one of the Sampradaya where Vedanta and Shaktism, that is Shakti worship, Sri Vidya and Vedanta are taken together, and he was Swami Omkarananda Brahmendra Saraswati. Under that Diksha Namam, he was also the Peethadipati of that Pudukottai Bhuvaneshwari Peetham after Swami Shantananda. So he has got an illustrious Vedantic background. Most of us have listened to his lectures. Most of his lectures are in Tamil. He has also given some Sanskritam and some English lectures, even overseas. Even he came to US, I guess, 2 or 3 years ago. And he gives a lot of really good, really interesting lectures. And only after listening to Swami Omkarananda, I got inspired to read a lot of Tamil texts. I did not know that even in Tamil texts there were a lot of Vedanta were present. For example, Tirukkural or Bharatiyar Kavidaigal, or there is a Tamil text called as Kaivalya Navanitam. It is out and out Vedanta in old chaste Tamil. So Swamiji inspired a lot of people to learn a lot of things. And it is very important to know about one's Guru Parampara, because one's Guru Parampara will tell whether the Vidya that we are learning is authentic or not. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Parampara proktam imam yogam rajarishayo viduhu. Hey Arjuna, whatever I am teaching Arjuna, these are not my figment of imagination, but these have been followed by rishis. These have been followed by your own ancestors. What I am doing is just doing I'm just reteaching all these values to you. They are never my figment of imagination, says Bhagavan Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. And Adi Shankaracharya, while writing bhashyas, while writing commentaries for Upanishads, for Bhagavad Gita, for Brahma Sutra, he also says, hey, I am not writing these things out of my own. I myself I myself has undergone rigorous training from my gurus. What I am doing is just conveying their message to you. What I am doing is just conveying their message, but in my own words, says Adi Shankaracharya in his Prasthanatraya Bhashya. So it is very, very important to know about one's Guru Parampara. And this is our Guru Parampara. I learned a lot of Vedanta from Swami Omkarananda, from Swami Paramarthananda, from Swami Dayananda Saraswati. So this is so Swami Omkarananda is a guru for all of us. Even though you guys, some of you might have listened to Swami Omkarananda, some of you might not have had that fortune to listen to Swami Omkarananda directly. But whatever I am teaching, this is from Swami Omkarananda's teaching itself. So in turn, everybody is listening to that Vedanta Parampara, is following that Vedanta Guru Parampara. So let us offer our namaskaras to Swami Omkarananda, and then we will start today's class in Vivekachudamani. What we are currently seeing is something called as Panchakosha Viveka. It is a peculiar way of Upanishadic teaching. Taittiriya Upanishad itself teaches this Panchakosha Viveka, and Adi Shankaracharya in his Vivekachudamani, he is inspired by that Panchakosha Viveka and he is teaching us. What is Panchakosha Viveka? Normally, people have a lot of misconception about their own self. People even think their body is not important to them. If we go, we have seen freedom fighters are there, or even terrorists are there. They are not, for them, even their body is not important. Their value, whatever the value they believe in, for them, that is more important even their own body. If somebody insults their value system, they will get enraged and they will go into fight. They will even die for those things that they believe. For them, their identity, they don't even identify with their body, but they identify with their value system. This is just one class of people. We also have other class of people who identify with a physical object like a house, like a car, like a dog. These are not their own body, but for some reason they develop a very deep attachment towards all these objects, and they think if those objects disappear, they have no point in living. That is why all these suicides happening, because they have an overemphasis for their job. They have an over identification with their spouse. After divorce, they cannot live. So all those things, they have an external locus of identity. That is really the first step. If that thing is not there, then I cannot be there. Everybody starts, or most of us have that. So they identify, for them, the capital I is not their body, something outside their body. Upanishad says, hey, 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 hey. That is completely wrong. Upanishad, for some instance, it says, you are your body. Because for them, if we teach about Atma, it is not going to be useful for them because they are so attached to an external object, they are so attached to a value system. For them, if you directly teach about Atma, it is a huge jump for them. Say you are in a bottom, you are in the ground floor, you want to reach the first floor. You cannot just jump from ground floor to the first floor. You have to take your first step and then you have to take your second step. You cannot remain in your first step. You cannot remain in the second step because if you remain in the second step, you cannot reach the first floor at all. So all these things are steps. So for those people who think that their identity is something other than their body, Vedas say, hey, 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 you are your body. Annam brahmeti vyajanad. Annadhyeva khalvimani bhutani jayante. Vedas says, Annam brahmeti vyajanad. Hey, Brahma, hey, your real self is this Annamaya Kosha. Because until now he was thinking his real self is probably his house. His real self is his cat. His real self is his house. So for him, Vedas say, hey, 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 your cat is not your real self, but your body is your real self. So he has moved from his external object to his own body, Annamaya Kosha. But now the problem comes, this is like taking up the first step. If your goal is to go to the first floor, you have to take the first step, but you also move on. You also should move on from the first step to the second step. We cannot stay in the first step itself. And that is what Acharya, that is what Vedas are doing. Once Annamaya Kosha is established, Vedas are saying, no, 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 no. You have to look deeper. There is something which is even subtle than Annamaya Kosha. That is called as Pranamaya Kosha. Okay, now I believe that I am Pranamaya Kosha. And then Veda say, no, 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 you are not Pranamaya Kosha. You are Manomaya Kosha. And then Veda say, you are not even Manomaya Kosha. You are Vijnanamaya and then Anandamaya. Once we go through till Anandamaya, our mind is now prepared to accept Atma as the real self. If we are in Annamaya Kosha, if our mind is not prepared to accept Atma as the real self, so it is like taking really baby steps, one step by the next step. So this is how the entire Panchakosha Viveka is being done in Taittiriya Upanishad. And here Adi Shankara starts from Annamaya Kosha. He is describing what is Annamaya Kosha, and then he says why Annamaya Kosha is not your real self. We have already seen Dosha Darshanam. There were 10 to 12 doshas that were associated with Annamaya Kosha. We have seen, and Adi Shankaracharya is continuing. He says, mere Vedantic study is not cannot help a seeker. You can be a scholar in Advaita tradition, but you can never be a Mukta Purusha until you apply all those concepts in our real life. This is what we have seen in detail in the last session. Dehendriyada vasati bhramoditam vidvanahantam na jahati yavat तावन्न तस्यास्ति विमुक्ति वार्तापि अस्त्वेष वेदांत नयांतदर्शी. You cannot get moksha just by chanting Aham Brahmasmi. You cannot get moksha just by chanting Tattvatamasi or Aham Brahmasmi or Prajnana Brahma or any Vedantic Mahavakyam for that fact. All we really have to do is understand those concepts, bring those concepts into real life slowly but steadily. Only that is going to help you get moksha. And Acharya now in two more shlokas, he expresses the same thing. That is, your Annamaya Kosha is not your real self. Here, Acharya is comparing Annamaya Kosha to four entities. He is going to list out four entities and he is going to say, just like how you won't identify yourself with these four entities, you are not going to identify, or you should not identify yourself with Annamaya Kosha. What are those four entities? Very, very interesting list Adi Shankaracharya is giving in shloka number 163. Chaya Sharire Pratibimba Gatre Yat Swapna Dehe Hridikalpitange. What are those four entities? Chaya Sharire. I'm going outside in summertime. Sunlight is falling on me. Because of that sunlight, I develop a shadow. Do we identify ourselves with that shadow? We won't identify ourselves with that shadow. If I am fat, my shadow is going to be fat. If I am lean, my shadow is going to be lean. If I am running, the shadow also will be running. If I am standing still, the shadow also is going to stand still. In fact, that shadow is my very, it is going to be a very close representation of my body. But do I identify with my shadow? If my shadow suddenly disappears, will I cry? I won't cry because I know that it is a shadow. If some car runs over my shadow, will I be dying? No, I won't die. My shadow might disappear, but it will not cause me any harm because I am not my shadow. I don't identify myself with my chaya shariram. Chaya means shadow. We can, some Tamil people might remember this song, Maya, 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 Yellam Maya, Chaya, 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 Yellam Chaya. All these things are chaya. Just like how we won't identify with our shadow, in the same way, chaya sharire. Okay, even shadow I can understand a little bit because my nose will not be present in my shadow. I won't see my nose or eyes in my shadow. What about your reflection in a mirror? Pratibimbagatre. Pratibimbam means reflection. Pratibimbagatre, that body I see in a mirror, that is the closest representation of my own body. If I have a mole on my nose, even that image is going to have a mole on its nose. It is the closest representation, but I still won't identify with my reflection. If somebody breaks the glass, the pratibhimbam, the reflection is going to disappear from the glass. If that glass has got, the back side of the glass is weak, I won't be able to see my body properly in that glass. If that glass has got some defects, all those defects are going to be transformed to the reflected face. But I will not worry about my deformed face, my deformed reflection in that deformed glass. Why? Because I know I am something other than that reflection. I am the original. If somebody breaks the glass, the reflection is going to go away. But we don't worry about the reflection because myself, original face is there. Why should I care about the reflection? Chaya Sharire Pratibimba Gatre. What is the third thing in the list? Yat Swapna Dehe. This is even more interesting because when we are dreaming, Swapna means a dream. Swapna Dehe. When I dream, I take a dream body. When I dream, I take a dream body. Say in my dream, I'm going to go to a temple. I will be seeing all those things, all those scenes like a movie. In my dream, I will have a body, and that body is going to go to a temple. That body is going to eat a gulab jamun. Fine. But if that body disappears, will I be worried? This is a very interesting analogy Acharya is doing, because while I am dreaming, I don't know that I am dreaming. This is a major problem for everybody. While we are dreaming, we don't know that we are dreaming. When do we know we are dreaming? We know we have been dreaming only after we woke up. Say, I am a pauper. I don't have any bank balance. But in my dream, I became a king. I will be so happy. Or I am a king. I am Bill Gates. But in my dream, I became a pauper and I woke up. I woke up that I also remember my dream, fortunately or unfortunately. Will I be worried that the pauper dream person died? Because when we wake up, the dream body disappears. Will I be worried about the dream body? Will I be worried about the disappeared dream body? No. After I wake up, whatever happens to the dream body, I don't care. In the same way, when we wake up to the higher truth that we are that Atmaswarupam, we are something much more than the body. In fact, I am not present in my body is present in me. If we have that conviction, if we wake up to that truth, then we can identify, then for that person, the physical body will be like the dream body. He does not care where his body goes. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Pasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tata dehantara praptihi dhiras tatra muhyati. Just like how we change this shirt. I am wearing a shirt. If that shirt is stained or if that shirt has worn out, I am going to take off the shirt. I am going to put on a new shirt. In the same way, this whole body, this physical body that I have is like my shirt. Whatever happens to my shirt, I don't identify with my shirt. If that shirt is stained, I know that my shirt is stained, but that stain is not going to affect me. In the same way, whatever the defects that my body has, we have to understand that those are the defects of our body, not of our original self. If we wake up to that higher truth, then this body becomes like a dream body. Yat swapna dehe. The fourth example is Hridi kalpita ange. Hridi kalpita ange. If I imagine, I'm not dreaming, this is not a pratibimba, this is not a shadow, but I am just imagining, just like in Tamil cinema, the hero will be imagining a heroine. He will not show the face, but without face, all the body will be shown in those dream scenes. In the same way, I am imagining a beautiful imaginary in my imagination. If somebody comes and says, if somebody comes and disturbs me from that imagination, that Kachi, that figure is going to disappear from my mind. Will I be worried about that disappearance? No, because I can imagine later, right? I can imagine the same thing later. I won't be worrying about the disappearance of an imaginative figure. Just like how you don't associate yourself with all these four things, just like how you won't cry about the disappearance of these four things. Of what four things? Chaya Sharira, a dream body; Pratibimba Gatra, a reflected face; Yat Swapna Dehe, Chaya Sharira means shadow. Yat Swapna Dehe, the dream body; Kritikal Pitange, an imaginative object. In the same way, yathatma buddhis tavanasti kachit jivat sharire cha tathaiva mastu. In the same way, the physical body that you currently have, it has the same level of reality as a chaya shariram, as a pratibimbagatram, as a swapna deha, as a hridikalpitanga. It is a highly meditate, highly stuffed verse, worthy of meditating daily. So Acharya says, just like how you don't identify yourself with those four things, in the same way, don't identify yourself with your physical body. And he says, okay, even after all those things, if somebody is so if somebody is so adamant, or if somebody is so ignorant that they are going to identify with their physical body, what is the problem that is going to come? देहात्म धीरेव नृणात्म स्थिति नृणाम असद्धियाम जन्मादि दुख प्रभवस्य बीजम यतस्ततस्त्वं जहितात जहितां प्रयत्नात् त्यक्ते तु चिन्ते चित्ते न पुनर्भवाशा. He says देहात्म धीरेव नृणाम असद्धियाम. If some person, even after going through, whether he goes through Vedantic study or whether he does not go through Vedantic study, it does not matter. If he identifies himself with the body, dehatmadhihi eva drinam asadhyam. If somebody identifies, if somebody has that dehatma bhava, what is going to happen? Janmadi dukkha prabhavasya bijam. It is the bijam, it is the seed. Seed for what? Janma, Adi, Dukkha. It is going to be the seed for his other births. He is going to be born again because he is identified with this body. He identifies with this body. He is responsible for the actions of his body. And this body has done both punyam and papam. If he has done a lot of punyam, he is going to take a deva sharira. If he has done a lot of papam, he is going to take a pashu sharira. If he has done both punyam and papam, he is going to take a manushya sharira. Punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam. Iha samsare bahudustare kripaya pare pahi murare, says Adi Shankaracharya in Bhajagovindam. He is going to come, he is going to go. He is going to come and go, come and go. That cycle is going to keep on continuing until he wakes up to the higher truth. There is no other way. But a person who has woken up to the higher truth, a person who understands that they are not their physical body, a person has rightly understood that the real nature of their Atma, yatastatastvam jahitam prayatnat त्यक्ते तु चित्ते न पुनर्भवाशा न पुनरावर्तते न पुनरावर्तते is the moksha varnanam. You will not be born again in this universe. Why? Because you have already attained moksha. You don't identify with your body. You don't have any kartrutvam. So all your punya, papam, everything will be destroyed. So you will not have any next janma. This is the moksha phalam. This is the phalan of moksha. After videha mukti, you will not be born in this universe again, says Acharya, thereby concluding his discussion on Annamaya Kosha. Now we have to move on to the next kosha, which is what? Which is the Pranamaya Kosha. What is Pranamaya Kosha? Karmendriyaihi Panchabhi Anchitoyam. प्राणो भवेत् प्राणमयस्तु कोशः येनात्मवान् अन्नमयोऽनुपूर्णः प्रवर्तते सौ सकलक्रियासु. After Annamaya Kosha, the next thing is called as Pranamaya Kosha. We have Pancha Pranas. Pranaya Swaha, Apanaya Swaha, Vyanaya Swaha, Samanaya Swaha, Udanaya Swaha. We do when doing pranagni hotram, We offer food to all these pranas because they are the physiological processes that keeps our body healthy. And this pranamaya kosha is composed of the pancha pranas and all the karmendriyas. Karmendriyas, the organs of action. I have previously told, whenever I say the organs of action, I am not referring to the physical organ. The physical organ will come under the stula sharira. The physical organ has got a technical name called as golaka. But whenever we say the organs of action, we say the faculty, the ability to walk. My legs is physical body, but my ability to walk comes under pranamaya kosha. And if prana has gone, if somebody becomes a dead body, his legs will still be there, but he will lose his ability to walk. Right? So the pranamaya kosha is composed of the pancha pranas and the pancha karmendriyas. And the pranamaya kosha precedes. The pranamaya kosha is encapsulated in the annamaya kosha, and the pranamaya kosha is one which makes the annamaya kosha works. We all know if somebody has stopped breathing, even though the physical body is intact, they cannot transact with this world because the pranamaya kosha has lost its capacity to work. So the pranamaya kosha enlivens the annamaya kosha. And naivatmapi pranamayaha vayuvikaraha gandha agandha vayudantar bahireshaha यस्मात् किंचित यस्मात् किंचित क्वापि न वेतीष्टमनिशं स्वं वान्यं वा किंचन नित्यं परतंत्रः. Here Adi Shankaracharya is arguing that even this pranamaya kosha is not the real I. When we say pranam peduthu, he died, we say we are thinking that pranam is the atma. No, pranamaya kosha is not the atma. Why? Because pranamaya kosha is what? Vayu vikaraha. We breathe in oxygen, we give out carbon dioxide. It is just a vayu vikara. Even after a person dies, air is present inside a dead person's lungs. The air is still present. The air outside is also still present. So pranamaya, again, even though everything is present, the body is not enlivened because there is something other than pranamaya that controls the pranamaya. Just like our body, our sthula sharira is there, but there is something other than the stula sharira which controls the stula sharira. Pranamaya is something other than the stula sharira, but pranamaya controls the stula sharira. If we go even one level deeper, there is something other than pranamaya that controls the pranamaya, and that the next step is going to be called as the manomaya kosha. Adi Shankaracharya does not describe on pranamaya because it is very, very less likely that one has a deep identification with the pranamaya. Others will identify somebody with pranamaya, but I either will identify my own self with my annamaya kosha or with my manomaya kosha. For me, I mean for that individual, he will not have a lot of identification with pranamaya. That is why Adi Shankara writes only 2 shlokas for pranamaya, but he is going to write a lot of shlokas for manomaya. He has already written a lot of shlokas for annamaya because it is the most most common misconception. And apart from annamaya, the next jump is manomaya kosha, because even several people think that they are their mind. If somebody insults their mind, they will not be normal. So Adi Shankaracharya writes a lot of shloka for manomaya kosha, and it is going to go in a certain order. Let us just see quickly how the thought process is going to go, and then we will see the shlokas in the next class. Adi Shankaracharya initially will compare the manomaya kosha as a sacrificial fire. we all do homa, right? That Agni, Adi Shankaracharya is comparing with Manomaya Kosha. And whenever we have a homa, what do? Somebody will be pouring some ghee into that. Swaha. If somebody is doing Ganapati Homam, they say Gam Ganapataye Swaha. They will chant some mantra. They will pour some ghee, or some something, or some murmura, which keeps on the fire, so that the fire does not go away. So people will be adding some fuel to that homa, right? In the same way, this Manomaya Kosha is fed by not one priest, but by 5 priests, says Adi Shankaracharya. If we do a Ganapati Homam at our house, only one person will come. He will be adding some ghee, milk, etc., 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 and the whole room is going to be filled with smoke. If that is true for one priest, this homa, Manomaya Homa, is being performed by 5 priests, and they are very potent priests. Do you know who are those 5 priests? They are our organs of knowledge, our jnanendriyani. Jnanendriyas are the 5 priests who add fuel to the manomaya. What are the organs of knowledge? Our eyes, chakshuhu, our nose, our ears, our skin, our tongue. These are the 5 organs of knowledge. They are sitting round this Manomaya Kosha Agni. And what are they going to offer into the Manomaya Kosha? The sense objects. The priest, the eye priest, will offer this eyesight into the Manomaya Agni. The nose priest will offer the Gandha. Eye priest will offer the IEYE, eye priest, the Netra priest is going to offer forms onto the Agni. This nose priest is going to offer Gandha onto Agni. This ear priest is going to offer Shabda onto the Agni. The skin priest is going to offer the touch onto the Agni. And the tongue priest is going to offer taste onto the Agni. Here, by saying this, Acharya is saying, hey, if you have so much hankering for something, what people will think is that, hey, I want to do only this thing in my life. After I finish this thing, I am going to go 100% into Vedantic study. After I achieve this goal, I am going to be more spiritual. But by the time we achieve that one thing, we would have developed 100 more things. That list will go, that list will extend by 100 number by the time we achieve that one thing. Because whatever we offer to the Agni, Agni will never be satisfied. If we offer something to our stomach will be satisfied. But Agni, whatever fuel you give to Agni, will Agni be satisfied, and Agni will say, hey, stop, okay, I am full, I cannot take in more. No, Agni is going to consume all those things. It is going to be bigger, and if you want to satisfy that Agni, next time you have to give even bigger offering. In the same way, these 5 priests, these 5 jnanendriyas are offering vishayas. The technically sense objects are called as vishayas. These jnanendriyas are offering vishayas onto my mind. And if we think by this offering of vishayas, by the offering of these vishayas, my mind is going to be satisfied, and it is not going to ask for much more, and it is not going to ask for many more things. Hey, no. Mind is not going to be satisfied. Not only it is not going to be satisfied, but the hankering is going to be even more than what it was before. Just like how the fire is going to be burning with more intensity if you add more fuel into the fire. That is exactly the reason why Shama, Dama were placed. Shama, Indriya Nigraha, Shama, Mano Nigraha, Dama, Indriya Nigraha. We have seen these things long, long ago, so long ago, once upon a time, as the Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti, we have seen. Why? Because our mind is like that fire which will never be satisfied with the offering. The more you offer, the bigger the fire is going to be, and you have to be offering even bigger things to our mind. That is why it is very, very important. It is absolutely important what we are feeding our mind. And this mind can be fed with only these five things. Our mind can be fed only by these five priests. So it is absolutely important the quality and the quantity of the food that we offer to the mind. Both quality is important and the quantity is important. With this, we will finish today's session. Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.